The price of blind trust. My cousin Leo was more than just family. He was the first person I would call for anything. We were practically raised as brothers. When I inherited the small family import business, the Pacific Trade Cupper, 5 years ago, I didn't hesitate for a second to make him my chief financial officer. I managed the operations, the logistics, the inventory, the sales, while he handled all the banking, payroll, and bookkeeping. My trust in him was absolute. I never questioned a ledger, an invoice, or a wire transfer. We were partners. And we had successfully quadrupled the business's revenue in 5 years. Last year, I decided to make our biggest capital move yet. A major investment in a manufacturing contract in Southeast Asia that required an immediate upfront transfer of $400,000, delegated the entire transaction, the verification, the wire, and the documentation, to Leo. It was a stressful period for me, managing the restructuring of the warehouse, and I told him to handle the financing completely. As the delivery deadline approached, the manufacturer grew suspiciously quiet. When I tried to contact them directly, I was met with generic, stalling responses. When I pressed Leo for details, his answers became too elaborate. He cited complex, bureaucratic international, wire freezes, and compliance issues. It was all plausible enough, but a growing, cold feeling in my stomach told me something was deeply wrong. I finally did what I should have done months ago. I pulled the master access code and logged into the business's primary banking portal myself. The truth was laid bare in a single statement. The $400,000 had never gone to the manufacturer. Over a 6-week period, Leo had initiated a series of small, hard-to-trace transactions that funneled the money through 3 separate shell corporations. Companies whose incorporation documents I found were signed by an old college friend of Leo's. The trail ended in a private offshore account in the Cayman Islands. He hadn't just messed up the transfer. He had orchestrated a calculated, systematic theft, using our biggest expansion to date as the perfect camouflage. The betrayal wasn't just financial. It was a complete erasure of a lifelong relationship for nothing more than greed. My self-rescue began immediately without confrontation. I bypassed the emotional need for a shouting match and focused solely on securing the remaining business. The moment I verified the offshore account link, I called our lawyer. Within 3 hours, we had filed a police report, issued an emergency cease and desist to freeze all company funds, and changed all physical and digital locks. The key to my survival was the mundane paperwork I had insisted on over the years, because I had the original digital contracts and required Leo to process everything through the company's official bookkeeping software. Even if he was tampering with the entries, we had an indisputable timeline of his actions. I was able to present clear evidence, the legitimate contracts, versus the fraudulent wire receipts, to law enforcement and our bank. We isolated the theft from the rest of the business, protecting the jobs of our employees and saving the company from collapse. Leo vanished, disappearing from our lives and becoming a ghost to the rest of the family. The financial hit was painful, but the business survived, stronger and wiser. I saved myself not by being clever, but by being meticulous with documentation. The lesson learned was the hardest one. Always trust the paper trail over the personal bond.